because of the relationship I didn't built with Capo over the last 5 or 6 years, that I just felt like it wasn't in me to go stand next to anybody he had an issue with or whatever, because the relationship is strong here. It's past professionalism, right? We got a personal relationship. You felt one way, I felt another way.
Right.
You went to the party, but you had already had a conversation with Capo. Talk about that.
I gotta holler at Capo, like, yo, bro, how you feel about that? Because I got invited directly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Indeed.
so I'm a definitely have that convo with bro before I just pop up and he got to hear about it. Like, that's just me.
No, it's definitely honor in that, brother. I feel like as a friend, the word friend people throw around, brother. You know, everybody, yo, Fab, my brother. This nigga, my brother.
Bro.
Yo, bro, that's my bro, it's my brother. That's my friend. But the thing is, I feel like everybody's your brother until it's time to do brother shit.
For weeks, the whole world has been glued to this one specific drama, the silent, heavy standoff between Max B and Jim Jones since Max finally got out. It's more than just a beef. It's a high-stakes, real-life drama playing out in hip-hop, and everyone's watching to see who moves first. This right here is the biggest test of loyalty hip-hop has seen in ages, because the stakes are huge. We've all heard the talk. Rappers ain't real friends, they only link up for a club gig or a studio session, they stick around for the cameras, but ditch when the pressure hits. But when it's time to show real brotherly love and stand up for your people against a historical rival, that list gets super short, and the whole city notices who's missing. Now, peep this, Jim Jones played this whole thing like a genius. He didn't hide, he leaned into the noise and dropped his new podcast right as the beef was boiling. That's a master move. Perfect timing to own the algorithm, get the whole city talking, and maybe crack the top 5 podcasts, period, just by existing in the controversy. The craziest part, Jim has been dead silent, not one direct word about Max since he came home, refusing to give the beef new life. But the plot thickens because his crew, heavyweights like Fabolous and Dave East, they've got history with Max too, forcing them into a tough position. They are the perfect fuel for this content fire. We're breaking down the moment Jim's inner circle had to pick a side and how their messy choices accidentally revealed Jim's whole quiet strategy for peace. Look, Jim Jones deserves his flowers here, seriously. With Max B home, Jim ain't out here wilding. He didn't drop a diss track the day Max was released. He ain't sending slick Instagram shots, and he ain't tossing little sneak disses on the mic during his new podcast episodes. The real talk is, his absolute silence is a deliberate, calm sign of maturity, grown man style. Think back 10 years ago, this would have been a full-blown televised street war with diss songs and online attacks flying every minute. But Jim is focused on his empire, maintaining his composure and tucking whatever feelings he has about Max way in the vault. And here's the kicker, the part that proves this is a strategy. He ain't stopping his friends from showing Max love. He's allowing co-hosts and longtime collaborators to bridge the gap without him having to take the public heat. That's a huge strategic shift that shows he's prioritizing business and unity over an old grudge. This calm, business-first approach tells you a historic meetup between Jim Jones and Max B is closer than you think. Maybe in the next year, he's letting the city ease into the idea of peace, letting his friends pave the way before he steps in himself to close the deal. But while Jim keeps quiet, everybody's watching the homies standing next to him. And what went down next put Jim's entire squad right on the spot, forcing an immediate reaction. On the new podcast, Let's Rap About It, they didn't waste a second. They knew exactly what the fans wanted to hear. Co-host Mano immediately put Dave East on the hot seat, leaning in with the simple, loaded question, "You showed up to the party?" The question carried enormous weight because Dave East had been present at Max B's dinner, and now he had to account for his attendance right there on Jim Jones's own platform. Dave stood his ground, keeping it 100 about wanting peace in the city. More importantly, he revealed he wasn't doing anything sneaky or disloyal. He went straight to the source first, making sure he was cleared. "I had to hit Capo up and see how he was feeling about it," he explained. He made it super clear. "I made sure to talk to my man before I just showed up, and he heard about it later. That's just how I move." That's respect and honor right there, a demonstration that he values the relationship. Dave East insisted he's not picking sides, like he vibes with both Jim and Max B. He supports both of them, and he refuses to be caught in the middle. He's maintaining his lane and not letting the internet twist his respect for two legends into some fake beef he never chose. Then Fabolous stepped in, keeping that legendary smooth demeanor to give his take on the whole drama, which was completely different from Dave's approach. Fab wasn't picking a winner, but he broke down that real friendship is a covenant, a contract that comes with serious rules. He dropped the truth bomb about rap friends. Everybody's your brother until it's time to really act like one, Fab stated bluntly. He argued a real friend should be safe around your girl and your money and have your back when you fall, proving loyalty through actions, not just words. Fab felt that because his deep connection with Jim Jones involves family and goes back years, extending far past studio time, he couldn't publicly stand next to anyone Jim was beefing with. He was clear. His decision was based on his own personal code, his own principles, period. The difference between Dave East's neutral, diplomatic position and Fabous's firm declaration of loyalty was crazy. Fab chose his camp, while Dave chose the high road. But the conversation quickly moved past personal drama toward the big picture, the city's future. The argument quickly leveled up, shifting away from individual problems to the biggest prize. New York looks better when everyone is rocking together, not falling apart. The entire panel was focused on this goal. Mano was seriously pushing this, saying, "I want all of New York to be on the same team," stressing that internal conflict only hurts the city's brand. They acknowledged their collective status as pioneers who already managed to build a brotherhood in a scene constantly criticized for disunity. However, they stressed that any full peace treaty has to happen on Jim's schedule, not because the internet is rushing them. They kept it real. You can't tell a man how to feel about something that only he went through, meaning Jim has to heal on his own terms. They agreed they want everyone to squash the beef and move on, but everyone has to move at their own pace. The message was solid. New York has too much talent and too many bags to be stuck on old drama from 10 years ago. They have to move past this for the sake of the culture. This collective ambition for unity is directly connected to a huge change in what the fans actually want. Dave East jumped in to explain that the younger generation sees this whole thing totally different now, and they are driving the change. He said today's fans just want fire music, unity, and real energy from New York, not the same old recycled beef every few months like it's a throwback Thursday. This massive culture swing is putting serious pressure on the legends to adapt and leave the old ways behind. Mano also dropped a serious reminder. A lot of people only see the headlines, but they don't get the heavy, serious history behind the Jim Jones and Max B saga. He emphasized that their dispute was a severe grown man situation, not some quick Twitter spat or a simple misunderstanding. This reminder hammered home how deep the scars really are and why Jim's silence is complex. Dave East's point about the culture shift proves that sticking to old grudges is bad for business now and bad for the city's brand. The fans are demanding progress, signaling that holding onto historical grievances is now a professional liability. This whole shift screams that a reunion is coming, but there's one final definitive hint that peace is way closer than we think. Just when things got settled and the conversation felt like it was wrapping up, Fabolous dropped the mic with one last truth bomb. Nobody wins when the city is divided. He painted the picture of how unstoppable New York would be if these legendary names finally stood shoulder to shoulder, maximizing their influence and wealth. That moment was powerful, suggesting that unity would literally shake up the entire industry. This final statement, combined with everything else they discussed, confirms a critical truth. Jim Jones is no longer viewing the situation as hostile. Fabolous, a loyal friend who would never cross Jim, is openly talking about unity and implicitly confirming that Jim didn't have a major issue with Dave East seeing Max B. It looks like the only thing left is for the two to sit down and hash it out like two seasoned adults, because that old bitter energy is gone. This whole exchange confirms they are much closer to peace than anyone realizes, with the road already paved by Jim's own team, who are all pushing the same message of moving forward. The essential question is no longer if they'll link up, but when we finally witness this historic handshake. The podcast wasn't just messy talk, it was a blueprint for how New York legends handle business now. We saw Dave East navigate the messy loyalty game with respect, Fabolous lay down the rules of true friendship, and Jim Jones execute a silent, brilliant master plan that prioritized his career and the bigger picture. The panel successfully analyzed the trials of allegiance, the cost of sustained grudges, and the final push for New York to get unified. Jim Jones is not out here operating with that chaotic energy from a decade ago. He is handling his business and letting the demand for peace build around him. The biggest signal of peace isn't what Jim has said, but what he's allowed his friends to do without drama or retaliation. The real question isn't if Jim Jones and Max B will meet, but when the city finally gets to see this historic moment that will change New York hip-hop forever. This entire story proves they are way closer to peace than anyone could have guessed.